So as we all know, the past couple of days have been interesting as a lot of people are wanting to fight Jake Paul, whether they're from the UFC community or the boxing community. Some fighters that may be in the ring with Jake Paul in the next couple of months are people such as Nate Diaz or even Dillon Danis, just to name a few. However, recently Jake Paul has been on a lot of interview shows and they have been asking him who he wants to fight next over the next couple of months, and here is what he had to say on a recent interview.
If you had your wish, who's that opponent? Who's the next guy?
I think Nate Diaz.
Obviously a big fight, but he's still under contract. He still has 2 fights left. He's fighting one of those fights in less than a month, but then he'll have 1 fight left. So why him? It seems like a long shot that would happen. Next, at least.
I think people will immediately write me off. Like, even watching this interview right now is like, oh, this kid's like crazy. Nate Diaz is such a dog. He's going to kill Jake. He's out of his mind, blah, blah, blah. But they're going to tune in and watch, right? And it's 2 massive names. And it'd be a massive pay-per-view. And then when they see me obliterate him, their jaws are going to be dropped and they're not even going to know how to react. They're going to think it's rigged again. And at that moment in time, I'll be undeniable to fight Conor McGregor, because I beat the guy that beat you, Conor, and the Jake Paul versus Conor fight is a massive fight. And so I'm sort of like, why wait? You don't need to be in this sport for forever. I'm not trying to have 100 fights. So why wait? Let's do the biggest fights right away.
After he fights Leon Edwards May 15th, will you and your team approach the UFC about doing something like they did with Mayweather and McGregor? There's a precedent now, right, where they will allow one of their guys under contract to box outside of their platforms. Is this something that you're saying you guys are going to explore?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it takes.
It have to be, right? Because he's still under contract with them. He can't just go and do. I mean, they gave Ben permission, but they didn't get a cut of that show. This one, I think they would want to get a cut of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he only has a couple of fights left, that doesn't take that much time.
So it looks like his next opponent coming up may be Nate Diaz in the near future, as Nate Diaz has already said time and time again that he wants to fight Jake Paul. But it's interesting to see where this actually might go, because this fight can actually happen. It's no longer influencers trying to fight Jake Paul, it's real life boxers that actually want a piece of the pie. It is interesting to see, and I think that Jake Paul really wants to fight Conor McGregor over the next couple of fights that he may take. Now, Conor hasn't spoken to Jake Paul directly, nor has Conor McGregor ever done an interview mentioning Jake Paul's name. However, he has finally reacted to what he thinks about Jake Paul in the boxing world, and here's what Conor had to say when he was in some Twitter beef on the internet a couple of weeks ago. So Conor said this on Twitter. He said, "Usman even copying my shots now. Am I to fight this guy at some stage? I think so. Can't be copying my shots and my moves and not get smacked for it. I like 170, it's mine soon." Justin then responded, "Do it, all bark, Usman will effing kill you. At least you will get knocked out when you're the mean McNuggets." Following this tweet was Dustin, who said, "I'm going to beat your ass July 10th. And then Conor again responded, "I'm a block at 170 guys. Give me till the end of this year at 155 weight. I'll get the strap and then I'll go up again. After green fungus panties, haha, cause any one of these fools can get it, Usman." Conor then responded, "UFC high level fighting over blogger jackass boxing." To who then Dustin responded, "Let's do it at 170 pounds. 3 fights, 3 different weight classes." But Conor responded with no. So it's clear to see that what Conor said in these tweets was definitely taking a shot at Jake Paul, even though he didn't use his name. And I think that's Conor's tactic as well. He doesn't want to use the word Jake Paul and put him in the discussion, but takes sly jabs at him like this one, which led to Jake Paul lashing out on Twitter. However, Jake Paul didn't actually call out Conor McGregor this time. He left him and didn't actually respond to anything that Conor has actually said about Jake Paul. However, decides to come after Dana White, as Dana White has been talking a lot of smack recently about Jake Paul even after the fight. So Jake Paul actually tweeted this and he said, "Dana, you claimed you would bet 1 million on me losing, set up Askren to train with Freddie Roach, gave him full access to UFC PI, and he still got his ass handed to him. Seems like you are the real douche, not Ariel. In my 3rd fight, I made more in total pay than any fighter in UFC history. Maybe it's time to pay your fighters their fair share. No wonder they all want to get into boxing. Dana, you say you make the fights fans want to see, so hurry up and make Jones and Ngannou happen. Pay them their fair share, 10 million purse for each guy plus PPV. Why are UFC fighters so underpaid versus boxers? Why did I make more than the 3rd fight than all but 2 Khabib and Conor UFC fighters fighters have in history. I know why. Now this doesn't really look good on Dana White because Jake Paul does make a really good point. Jake Paul is getting paid way more than some of these UFC fighters who have been fighting for years and years. Yes, you have fighters like Conor McGregor making stacks and stacks amount of money. However, the majority of fighters only get paid 30 to 40,000 per fight, and it isn't really enough to live on, especially if you only do 1, maybe 2 fights a year. So although Jake hasn't really called out Conor McGregor ever since Conor made those comments, Logan Paul decided to take it into his own hands and defended his little brother and said shut the F up to Conor McGregor, retweeting his tweet. And speaking of Logan Paul, we all know he does have a fight coming up with Floyd Money Mayweather, and it is going to be an exhibition match. However, a lot of people are very hyped to watch this and see who actually comes out on top. Now, a lot of people are saying Floyd Mayweather, and it is true, he is a world-class boxer. He hasn't lost to any other boxer with a 50-0 record, but a lot of people say that he is out of his prime and Logan Paul might get the better of him due to his youth. But me personally, I am still going for Floyd, but Floyd was recently on an interview and he actually had this to say about the whole topic.
I can fight a fighter right now, right? And I can guarantee myself what, 35 million. I could guarantee myself 35 million. Eventually probably make 50 million, right? Just a regular fighter, right? Or me and Logan Paul or a YouTuber, we can go out and entertain and have fun and make 9 figures, 100 million or more. So if you were me and you were retired, because everybody thinks that retire mean at home with your feet kicked up and you picking up weight and you growing and your hair getting gray. I prefer to go out and still entertain and have fun.
Why fight Logan Paul?
Why not? I mean, like I just told you before, remember this. I got a sharp mind. I told you I was an entertainer. I'm not just a fighter, I'm an entertainer. So, I mean, why not? Something different, something that I don't mind doing, and something that the people want to see. Name another boxer besides myself that's more famous than Logan Paul.
Tyson Fury, maybe?
What? So let's look up. So what you need to do right now, I want you to look up Tyson Fury, look up how many followers he got on social media, and look up how many followers Logan Paul has on social media. Hold on. So 50 something compared to 4 something.
Yeah, that was Instagram, but
It doesn't. At the end of the day, there's no comparison. Crossing over, I'm the one that started all the exhibitions. Me fighting an MMA fighter. It's just me mixing everything together. Everything started with Floyd Mayweather. So once again, I'm the pioneer of doing that. Nobody was doing exhibitions before. I mean, they probably was doing exhibitions back in the day, but nothing really entertaining. You know, when I did an exhibition in Tokyo, Japan, I think 40,000 people showed up for 3 rounds. You know, I told the people that I made $9 million in 9 minutes, but I think actually I made more money than that. I just tell people what I wanted to tell them.